When discussing qualitative, or another word for that is categorical, I'll use them interchangeably. Typically, actually, you'll most likely hear me talk about qualitative so as not to be confused with quantitative, quantity, measurable. Qualitative is really talking about looking at what qualities are being discussed, or that's the type of data that it is. So we're really talking about a quality. All right, qualities such as body shape or body type. Okay. Sometimes you might have clothing that's small, medium, and large, and those are qualities because a small in one brand or one type of shirt might be completely different than a small in another type. So there you're more talking about a quality, how are they one relative to the other, as opposed to an actual quantity. If you're talking about men's dress shirts, like a button-up shirt, here's my picture of a dress shirt. Virtually impossible to tell if that's what it is unless I had told you. A dress shirt has two measurements. First, they talk about your neck size, that is the circumference of the neck, and it'll actually say on the shirt itself, 17.5 is the first number, and then by it'll say something like 36. These are both in inches. So 17.5 then is the neck circumference. 36 is the sleeve length. And that's 36 inches. All right, that's quantitative. Qualitative would be if you get yourself an extra large shirt. That's a quality. Unless, of course, they have numbers attached to it, then it's actually a description of a quantity. But qualitative variables or categorical data have two types of graphs. You can either do a bar chart or you can do a pie chart. So if we look at them, we could look and say, okay, let's think of a description like eye color, just because there's not that many. All right. And if we just look at blue, brown, or green, and we have 50 people in a room, we would look and see, okay, how many have green eyes? All right, and maybe there's 6 people. This number 6, although it's a number, do not think of that as a quantity. All right, what is my actual variable? My actual variable is eye color. Green is one example of that variable. Green is the variable. 6 is counting how many times this variable happens. It's qualitative variable. 6 does not make it quantitative. Then you have brown eyes. Then we're going to have blue eyes. Depending on what region of the country you're in, this could look like this based on genetic makeup of certain populations. But this is a bar graph or a bar chart. Notice in between these bars, we don't have them touching each other. The reason why is you cannot have blue and brown at the same time. Well, we'll at least assume that you cannot have someone with one blue eye and one brown eye, but there's no connection. All right. Unlike quantitative, where you have possibly continuous data running or a continuous possible measurement, you cannot exist in between here, so there have to be separations. And if we take that and make that into a pie chart, it looks to me like, if we just kind of guess here, looks like the blue is about 3 times that of the green. So when I go to put my green in here and then my blue in here, I'm going to probably have something like this for green, probably something like that for brown. All right, so this is green eyes. This would be brown eyes. And then the big zone would be blue eyes, which looks like it's about 3 times the size of the green. All right. Now you would actually take a look and say, okay, suppose this is 22 people. All right, I said 3 times, didn't I? Let's say that's 18 people. And this looks like it's about 10 people. So I have a total of, let's see, 18, 10, that's 28, plus 6 is 34. 34 is my total. So if I wanted to find the actual area of the brown region, I would take 10 divided by 34, make that into a percent, and then I'd have this here. And really we did this a little bit backwards. You should probably first find the percent. Find the percent for the greens, 6 out of 34. And then 18 out of 34. Find all of those percents, then make a corresponding pie chart with the correct percentages as a percent of 360 degrees. When we make pie charts, I will expect you to find the percents and then just give me an estimate. Give me an estimate in here for about how far that is in that within this circle. I'm not going to be requiring a protractor. You do not need to make it that accurate. You do not need a compass to make a perfect circle. But that's a general appreciation for then qualitative variables, bar chart, pie chart. That's about it. This happens to be a specific type of bar graph called a Pareto. Pareto. Or is it T? Pareto. No, it's D. Pareto. A Pareto chart where we put them in decreasing order. Put whatever happens the most common first, and then second, and then third in order, called a Pareto chart. It's a specific type of bar chart. Anyways, that's the essence of what you have to do in terms of qualitative variables. I want you to try to think of another example and come to class or fill out the form of something else that potentially could be considered either qualitative or quantitative, depending on how you looked at the actual variable itself. And better yet, if you can think of something that's a numeric value that people would think means it's quantitative, but the reality is it's only qualitative, just a quality. If you can think of an example like that, that would be even better in terms of understanding the differences. And so again, think of something like that. If you can, write it in there in that form. If not, come to class with a couple ideas of a type of variable that in one circumstance could be considered qualitative and in another circumstance be considered quantitative. All right, that's all I have. We'll see you soon.